Hi everyone and welcome to Franka's Fab Family. You know who I am. I am Franka and I want to thank you so much for joining us again. And today we are going to look at some signs and some ways that you can tell if you are developing a healthy child. It's so important that we put in the effort to develop healthy future adults, and right now there are some signs that we can look for in our children that will be an indicator that we are doing what we're supposed to do as a parent. I know that many people decided, I think in the last generation, that, let kids be their own self, let them do what they want. And I know when we moved back to the States, Jordan was 12, and at one point, Jordan actually thought that he knew better than me. He knew that he could advise me, and one time I said to him, I said, Jordan, listen, if I have to take counsel from a 12-year-old, I have 3 college degrees, I have lived in 4 different countries, and I have to take counsel from a 12-year-old. Don't get me wrong, we do need to listen to our children. We do need to concern ourselves with their concerns. But my goodness, people, my goodness, adults, if you are allowing your children to raise themselves or advise you on how to raise them, that is quite questionable. And I think that the world is really showing that evidently. Children are not to raise themselves. Children are not to make all of their decisions themselves. You can actually give them healthy options, healthy choices to help guide them down a particular way in terms of the categories of health, finance, family, friendships and things like that. Because we as the adults that have experienced this lifetime a lot longer than them, if you don't really know how to advise your children or how to steer them in a healthy direction, you may want to seek some professional help, because children at 12, children at 7 should not be raising themselves. So here are some tips if you are raising healthy children. Okay, 1, is your child or children physically active daily? I mean physically active daily. Are they able to run down the steps, participate in PE, participate in the extracurricular activities? Those type of physical activity help to build children's immune system, self-esteem, their body structure, all those type of things. So if you have a very sluggish child at home, you, the parent, will need to get involved in getting them involved in some type of physical activity. Physical activity in a young person's life is very, very important because it will transfer into adult life. Another thing is, does your child eat fruits and vegetables, protein, healthy foods, or are they particularly on a junk food diet? Healthy foods and healthy fruits and vegetables, it allows the organs and the bodies to grow. I always tell my children the reason why I feed them so much healthy foods is because they will have a whole lifetime in adult life that they can do what they want. And if they want to eat junk food, then at least their bodies in its growing stages would have gotten the proper nourishment. If you like plants, you're not going to take soda and pour it on the plant. You're going to take clean water, you're going to clean the leaves and things like that, then you're going to help the plant to grow. I always consider our bodies and our little ones' bodies just like that. It's a mini plant. So if your child is eating healthy fruits and vegetables, nice protein on a daily basis, good job to you. You're doing a good job. Does your child get enough rest? Sleep is so important. Some kids don't have a bedtime. Children actually function scientifically through structure and repetition. Children need a bedtime. Some children, so young, they're going to bed 11, 12, 10 o'clock at night. My children's bedtime are at 8 and at 9 for Luke, and when Jordan was here, he used to be 10, 10:30 until he really became older and was able to manage himself. Adequate sleep for us is so necessary, much less for children. Remember, their brains and organs and everything is developing, and if they're not getting the nutrients and the rest for their body to recover daily, they won't function and they won't learn as effectively as they could if they were getting these things. Another thing is, do they play well? Do they play well with each other? Do they have alone time well? Do they handle isolation time or individual time well? That's another indicator that your child is developing well. If you looked at the video when I talked about I can't, it's not coming to me. A secure child, a secure habit style. What's your attachment style? Secure attachment style adults or people or children, they have a healthy balance between social life and individual life. Like they can spend time with their own self. Like they're okay, you know, sitting for an hour or two. And I don't mean watching TV. It could be doing something else, like doing a puzzle on their own, doing a maze on their own, something like that. Those are healthy ways that children can display that they're developing well. It's a healthy balance. Another thing is, do your children have good manners? Good manners is so important in adult life. We need to be able to peacefully and cooperatively engage with each other and interact. A lot of children are not learning these skills at a younger age. Are you teaching your children good manners? The other day I was in a restaurant and this woman had 3 little boys, and the one little boy didn't seem more than 3 or 4 years old, and his mother was telling him, you know, like, come on, let's go. And he's like, no. And she's like, you know, come on, you know, and she's trying to coach him. And at one point he said to her, didn't I tell you no? And I know I turned my head and looked, and everybody else turned their head and looked, because this is just not the way. You know, he spoke quite eloquently, so it wasn't a child that didn't have a good verbal communication. But these things are happening at home. They're happening at home, and we have to really understand and appreciate that what our children are experiencing outside of the home is what they have been taught or have not been taught inside of the home. The other day, a 6-year-old brought a gun to school and shot his kindergarten teacher. Seriously? So the level of anger, lack of discipline, lack of manners, children are not allowed or should not be allowed to raise themselves. They are to be encouraged to be free thinkers and open-minded as we guide them towards healthy choices and healthy ways, because we're living in a community, we're living in a world, we're living on a planet where we have to engage in a healthy way with each other. And children will always display unhealthy practices or natural default negative behaviors, and it's our responsibility as the parent, as the adult, to help guide them through these choices. And I find that many parents that take the hands-off approach, I'm sorry to say, I just call you lazy parents. You're lazy. You're decided, oh, they know what they want. They know what they want to do and everything. What happens when children decide, you know, you're upsetting me, I'm ready to kill you? Because it's happening. More and more children are actually taking the lives because they're not being instilled with manners and empathy and those type of characteristics at home that help build great adults. We know what successful adult qualities are. We know what they are in us. Let us help and try to ensure that our children are developing these ways. You know, do they speak kindly to each other? Not only to people outside, but do they speak kindly to you, the parents at home, and their siblings at home? I remember one time I was watching an interview where they were trying to get the mom to take control of her son. And this little boy must have been about 8. And he's sitting across from her, and she's like, no, I'm serious this time. I don't want you to do this anymore. And that little boy took his hand and he slapped his mother. I called my kids and said, come. I need you guys to look at this video. So I showed them the video, and all of my kids' faces was like, he got to be crazy, got to be out of his mind. And those type of behaviors we cannot and should not foster in our children. They're not healthy for them. They do not lead down the road to success. They do not lead to a successful, happy adult life. No one is going to really want to hang out with you. You know, no one is going to tolerate this type of behavior. Are your children resolving conflicts and issues safely, happily? Are they able to express themselves like, mom or dad, this happened to me at school today, or you did or said this to me the other day and I really didn't like it. We must guide and coach our children down the path that we wish them to go, or at least give them healthy choices to let them pick. But I don't know who is raising children out there that is letting their child know it's okay to drive across the state with an AK-47 and go and shoot 2 people at a rally and you'll be okay. A 6-year-old, go and take the gun and shoot up the teacher, it will be okay. One set of parents told their kid, just don't get caught. People, my God. We are trying to live a life on this planet, enjoy the bounties of this planet, the trees, the birds, the life, this experience. Because in this life, the pleasures and the joys of life, to me, they way outweigh the misery and the suffering of life. And many of our suffering in adult life and in childhood life is normally self-inflicted. Many times it's self-inflicted. But we as the adults must help guide our children into healthy practices. So if your children are doing many of these things that I talk about, even including expressing themselves, are they expressing themselves effectively? Are they able to feel confident to say, I'm not feeling well about this, or I don't like the way this happened to me? It's a great way to see if your child is developing well. Is your child eating, sleeping, solving problems well? These are great indicators that you are doing a good job. Come on, parents, we have to raise our children. The last generation decided, let them do what they want, and resulted in a world right now of unreasonable adults, many unreasonable adults. So let us raise our children. Let us take time to invest, to instill, to research healthy habits that we can transfer to our children. It's our job. I am the CEO in this house. I am the boss in this house. If I went to the workplace and I behaved in these ways, we all know what will happen. So let us allow these same type of standards towards successful behaviors and traits and skills to emulate in our home, within our children. And if you don't have those skills and traits within yourself, the number one thing that we must do is invest in ourselves. I can't say that enough. You must become the parent that you wish you had. You must become the adult that you wish you had, so you can help grow and help build up successful adults later in life, okay? So if you're doing a great job with these things that, show that your child is developing well, great job. And if you fall short a little along the way, it's okay. We're all human. We all make mistakes, but let's get on it. Parenting is not a job that you sit on the sideline and you see how they turn out type of thing. No, parenting is a daily active action, participation, involvement in the care of our children's life. So if you have children, if you hope to have children, I want to encourage you. It's a very proactive approach that you have to take. And if you need to learn the skills, get online, get to a library and learn the skills, because the research is really out there. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. I really want to thank all of you for your feedback and for your comments and for sharing. And I am Franka Potter. Please hit subscribe and like. And I just want to wish you a wonderful day. Take care now.